It's times like these that you kind of wish you had a beard. A little beard. Right, this time I'm going to make sure I am not doubling up in sound because it sounds like I'm doubling up. I don't like that. If I'm doubling up, I will be very, very, very unimpressed because I thought I fixed the problem. And clearly, okay, come on. Times like these that you kind of wish you had. Ah, fuck. Right, this doesn't. This time, the new phone doesn't have stupid thingies. Okay, whatever. Come on. Times like these. Oh god, now it's all feeding into each other. Okay. Ah, fuck. This doesn't. The new phone doesn't have stupid thingies. Okay. Okay, you know what? Come on. You know what? I think we're good. I think we're good. And there was a weird buzz that came through. I'm sorry. I don't know what that is. Hopefully it's not buzzing anymore. That's a thing. um, but yeah, sorry. This is started late. I was setting everything up, and then my ex started ringing my phone. And just a little thing out there, if you have exes that you would much rather fall on a knife than talk to you, when you have a new phone, remember to block them across everything. Just remember to block them. Okay, I'm assuming there's no echo. If there's an echo, then I now live in a tiled toilet. It is what it is. I really hope that's not the case, because that would suck. I want to check. Where's my other phone? Oh, Chicky, you have more than one phone? Yes. Yes, I do. Fair listeners, I do. I don't care. It is what it is. Because when you start messing around with voice AI things, you end up realizing you need different platforms to play around with stuff. So, if I do this, I am so hell bent on this not doubling up, because if it does double up, then I'm gonna mess around with stuff to make it not double up. So, meh. um, blah 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 blah. Let's see. Does that sound okay? We're good. We're good. Wonderful. Wunderbar. We love it. All right. Okay. So I can actually get on with a rather deep topic today. This is why I don't use these headphones, even though they're great for work. They make too much noise. They make way too much noise, and it's really distracting. So let's get rid of that. Oh god, please don't fall down. And let's get on with the show. Cause ow, that was I squished that way too hard into my ear. Cause there are things we need to get done today with the rather dramatic title I've given this episode, which is not regular listening. This episode is not really forgotten. I just didn't mentally kind of put myself in the position of thinking about this until I realized it's May and a very significant thing happens on the 6th of May, which is the day that, the polished and sexified version of this comes out. So I had to put it in here because if I didn't, I'd be annoyed with myself. And the last like 10 days has been kind of weird. And for a while I didn't know why. I just thought it was just me, life, whatever. And then I realized, oh yeah, no, there's the body is interesting. All right, the body is very interesting in how subconsciously we can take a lot of stuff on and our bodies react to a lot of stuff, and it's not here. It's all little things kind of whirring and churning away in your body, and you just feel it, and you don't understand what it is, but you can feel it and you're like, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, that was what's happening. But over time, I've gotten a little bit better with understanding if there's like an internal problem or feeling or something, that's something's coming or something's happening and I've just forgotten about it. So that's it. I'm getting way ahead of myself, and the cat is awake. Great, which means he's probably going to take a shit soon. If you were here 3 episodes ago for like 10 minutes, that boy, that boy in the corner, Mr. Cat, decided to go have a poo for like ages. Morning. Hello. I thought you were going to sleep. That's why I started. But you're awake now. Okay, cool. So let's do the usual thing. Do the intro, get stuck in, and yeah, let's see what the next 35 to 40 minutes brings. Right. Well, well, well. For once, I don't sound like I'm stuck in a tiled toilet, which is great. And if you are watching this live on Facebook or YouTube, hey, what's going on? Otherwise, welcome to the Getting Shiggy with show. I don't know if I want to call it a show. Maybe I'll call it a podcast or just my constant mental witterings or something. I don't know. Anyway, this episode 36, was meant to be something completely different. Or is it episode 37? Ooh, no, it's episode 37. Gosh, I'm terrible. I didn't update my post-it notes. It's actually meant to be episode 37, but it's not episode 37 because a certain thing that is now a regular part of my life, if you haven't read the title, then what are you doing? Read the title. It's a dead giveaway. It's oh dear. That's it. That's the level we're at this episode. Terrible puns from the beginning. I completely forgot that it's the month of May, and the polished episode, the polished version of what I'm doing right now, comes out on Thursdays, and it will be Thursday the 6th of May that this is coming out. And the 6th of May is an anniversary, or rather a death anniversary, because my mother killed herself on the 6th of May in 2019. Great. If you aren't watching this, I'm putting up 2 very sarcastic thumbs up. And yeah, for whatever reason, I completely forgot about it until last week, because I was physically feeling weird. I was physically feeling a little bit displaced, a little bit anxious, very, very cutting and resentful. Not at anything in particular, just in general, just with life, just with the existence of the whatever, just existing, or so I thought. And with that, I realized, oh, it's the end of April. Oh, it's May. Oh shit, the 6th of May is coming up, and that's when my mom did her thing. So I kind of put not so much a post-it note, but I just put a mental note to make Tuesday's episode, which is today, or 2 days ago if you're listening to this on your preferred podcast platform or directory. It's a directory. That this had to be the 2-year death anniversary edition, because it's important to share what's going on, because there is no field manual for any of this, for anything, absolutely anything. There's no field manual for anything. I'm going to turn the microphone over this way because it sounds a little bit better. So yeah, there's no field manual for anything leading up to, during, and after losing a parent, especially in the way I lost mine. So I've given you guys enough space to either prepare yourself, pepper your Angus, or leave, because the way my mother killed herself is very American, is very violent, and I feel is very important to put out there, because it's not so much trying to normalize it, although, it is a case of normalizing it, because when I speak to people from America, they aren't shocked by it as much. I mean, people who have been around levels of violence and such things, they won't be shocked as it were. Whereas, I'm gonna do it this time. I'm just gonna record some aspect of it. I don't care. We'll figure out something. So in America, a lot of people who are used to gun violence or have heard plenty of stories of friends and family or whatever completing suicide by shooting themselves. That's common. In the UK and various other places that do not typically have a lot of guns in their lives, it's a shock. And I think the sooner people kind of absorb that gun violence is a thing, the quicker we can kind of carry on transcending the stigma around mental health, mental wellness, mental health, disease, the lack of community. The death of community is a huge issue in the Western world, which is sad. And I still feel, even right now, and probably forevermore, that that's something that really needs to be addressed and really needs to be the main focus of everything that we do going forwards. Because, coming out, I don't think we're ever going to really come out of this pandemic because things have changed permanently. But being forced into various levels of isolation for at least a year, at least in the UK and a lot of places in Europe, has shown that, mental health issues kind of get really ramped up. The amount of suicides that have happened over the last year, I would not be surprised if it's gone up by a huge percentage. It makes sense, unfortunately. Some people ultimately being exiled to solitary confinement, other people being exiled to spending time with people they would really rather not be around. There goes the cat. Is he in? Yes, he's in. Joy of joys. Scritch, scritch, scritch. It wasn't so bad last time. And I think I'm going to leave it in here because I don't want to kind of break the tempo of this, because I feel like there's a lot of things that need to kind of be put into this. If it does get really bad, then obviously I'll pause for a little bit. But yeah, so the topic of suicide, people are kind of using as random mouthpieces to spout in aid of, reducing lockdown, giving people their lives back, blah, 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 blah. Fine. Should I carry on? No, I'm going to wait. You done? Yeah? You're gonna go back in for part 2? I'm just gonna assume you're done. Okay, so that's all well and good. But there's this other question that comes in as to what you as an individual have been doing to support people around you. Like, every person should have a community. Being an island on your own is where some of us, not all of us, because some people actually thrive being on their own. Other people kind of do okay, and other people just completely crumble. So, having your own little community of people, are you doing what you can to look after them? That's a bigger question than people using suicide as a data point to support whatever they're trying to argue about. And protesting on the streets to get their lives back, or whatever. It's like the government doesn't care about you. They do, so far as the bare minimum that they need to do to keep society kind of going, to feed the economy and so forth and so on. But when it comes to individualistic communities, which is a weird cluster of words to put together, but when it comes to those type of things, faux pas 101. Let's mute that. I think my other phone's probably going to go off. But when it comes to that, the onus is on us. The onus is on family, friends, people. If religion is your thing, you'd have the parish and the church. And weirdly enough, when you remove the kind of religious tropes out of Christianity, it is effectively community. It's a community of hope. It's a community of to a degree, forward thinking, of looking after each other, at least in a traditional sense. The various kind of iterations of it going forward, obviously, are just I don't know, bones of contention for various people. So I'm kind of moving away from the inevitable, but I feel it's important to at least broadly go into spaces that other people can maybe utilize to relate into. Because when it comes to my mother and when it comes to my family, if I'm honest, we are a hodgepodge of mess. And I don't say that in a scathing way, even though I know it comes across that way. And if I'm honest, there is a lot of resentment and annoyance, because I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't even ask to exist. But, that happened, and you kind of just make the best of what you get given. But, my family was a hodgepodge. And I'm saying was because my father passed away as well last year. And I think I mentioned that in a couple of episodes back when I kind of came back from hiatus, and I'm still kind of slowly but surely dragging myself across the finish line. My father passed away, I think, in August. Again, that side of the family didn't tell me. They don't think I'm part of them, even though we have like last names or whatever. I don't know. It's a hot mess. I'm changing my last name soon anyway. Fuck those guys. So whatever family I have, I don't have anymore, which is fine. It's totally fine. It's fucked up, but it's fine. And trying to deal with that, a lot of people come in and kind of go, oh, you need to think about the positive. Look at all the positive things. And I'm like, I do. And this is where I stand. I am thankful that I was born into a place where everyone valued looking after the child. Okay. I'm thankful that my mother did the best that she could to get the best education that I could get, right? Because her father, my grandfather, told her the best thing you can do for a child is afford them, or give them the best education you can afford to give them, which I agree with. But love is a good thing too. Give a child a family, give a child love, give a child kind of that side of things, which it was done. But my mother birthed a very independent child who just really didn't give a fuck about anything. As long as like the mother thing was somewhere and I could keep an eye on her, that's fine. Or if I could hear her, that's fine. Otherwise, leave me the fuck alone. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm here for. I'm still trying to figure it out. But, she afforded me the best education possible. And I am hugely, 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 hugely thankful for that. She created a family, a family unit. Hugely grateful for that. My dad fucked that up. Fine. There's a woman out there who should never, ever, ever show herself to me. And some 20, no, wait. When did I start going to therapists? when I was 19. So 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15, 16, 17. Oh, good Lord. 17 years of therapy. No therapist has managed to shake this one thing off. There is one woman in the world who, if she ever stood in front of me again, I'll basically go to prison for what I do. And I don't care. I literally don't care. Like, people trying to say, oh, don't say that. I'm like, why does it? Because it makes you uncomfortable? Like, I don't care how you feel. You're not the one that had to deal with the shit that I had to deal with. So kindly fuck off. I put explicits on every single episode because, yeah, this happens. So, trying to only focus on the positive, I think, is toxic, because if you don't let the negative breathe, if you don't let experiences have their space, then they fester and they grow mold. I'm talking, kind of mentally, they grow mold and they start kind of creeping and seeping into other things. And you don't even realize, issues with your family kind of start bleeding into relationships and maybe work and maybe like just your life in general. And you just become a very kind of toxic, sour person, even though you're a cuddly, lovely teddy bear. And that's what I realize happens every now and then. For me, like, if I start getting really kind of annoyed and cynical and scathing, I know it's because there's something somewhere else I haven't addressed, or something is coming up that I need to address. And 9 times out of 10, it relates to just family bullshit. So I'm saying all of that because my business mentor last week, I mentioned this was coming up, and she said, you're allowed to be mean. It's okay. You can take, these mean words, these mean thoughts, these mean ideas, and you need to be at peace with that, because that's part of a superpower as well. If you can channel if you can channel your meanness for good and make peace with it, it becomes less acidic, it becomes less hurtful, and you can focus it into better things. And that's the first time I've ever heard someone take on board what I was saying and seeing the good out of it. Because every time, I was talking about an ex, that was heavily associated with my mother's, not with my mother's suicide, but with supporting. And if you're not watching this, I'm using sarcastic quotation marks because he didn't. He just went off on a kind of, I don't know, I ended up needing to look after him, and just he turned into an absolute asshole, for want of a better phrase. And weirdly enough, he managed to call my phone just before I started recording this, and that freaked me the fuck out. So I'm like, fuck, it's a new phone. I need to block him off everything. And I blocked him off of everything except for just normal phone calls. And I have him as a specific name. So when it showed up, I was just like, rage. And I wanted to throw something, but I'm not a thrower. So, I left it. So yeah, with all of that, my business mentor was like, you need to see the meanness. You need to see being cynical. You need to see, what this space is, and you need to nurture it in a way for it to kind of grow better. And I really like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I have a physical outlet for it. That's, why I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's why I've always had a martial art. Having a martial art helped satiate, I suppose, these feelings that I have. I get to express them. I get to be really angry, and it's in a controlled space. And another reason why I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is because there's no hitting. I don't like hitting. But there's a level of intensity that it doesn't matter how, if you get really angry and you don't channel that anger, then you just get tired. You have expelled, expanded, whatever. You've used your energy to no effect. You've just literally thrashed around like a tantruming 5-year-old, And what do you have to show for it? Nothing. So I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because it means if you're having a bad day, take the bad out of that day and just pull the energy in and focus that energy into really utilizing your movement, really utilizing techniques that we're learning on the day, or techniques that you have, or techniques that you want to practice. And if you really want to kind of go all in, then go find the sandbagger. I haven't rolled with a sandbagger. I have rolled with a D2 wrestler, and if you don't understand that space, in the US, they have collegiate levels or college levels of athletes and sports. And it's like in the UK where you have like premium and then Division 1, Division 2 kind of things for sports, but they take it to a whole other level over there. And if you're like a D1 college wrestler, you're basically dangerous, right? And if a D1 wrestler comes in to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they can basically sandbag. And if you don't know what sandbagging is, imagine a sandbag and you're just throwing it for shits and giggles. A D1 wrestler could potentially come in and sandbag their way through most of white belt and potentially most of blue belt, unless, they get wrist locked, in which case they need to understand that. So I haven't rolled with any sandbaggers or anyone like that. I have a few people that do kick my ass, and I enjoy that. If I have a bad day, physically I enjoy that. But I haven't had that for a year. I had a little bit of it because we were rolling in the park last year with a little bubble of jiu-jitsu guys and girls, people. And that was great. That kind of ticked me over through the month of May as this, thing was happening. But I don't have it this time because did I mention that I fractured my toe? It's reaching the end. We're in week 5 now, which is great. And I don't have that. So my mentor was just like, you know how there's journaling for gratitude and there's journaling for this and there's journaling for that. I'm like, I'm not journaling like good stuff. She's like, no, hear me out. Have a mean journal. When she said that, literally in the back of my head, I was just like, holy shit, this is great. Like no one has ever said have a mean journal, just have a place for you to just really go to town, just get all the vitriol, all the acrid, just putrid ideas and words and phrases and just get it all out, just write it all out in a mean journal. And that will just hold, all of that bad shit. And then when you come back to read it, it'll be hilarious, which is true. Always is the case. Like reading journals right now is quite funny, but like having a mean journal and then coming back to read that shit, oh my God. Oh my God, it's so delicious, to use a phrase. So if you're not watching this, you're going to miss out on this, but this is my mean journal. I'm holding it up to the camera. For a visual description, it is a blue A5 leather bound journal with tan brown leather, I suppose, rope tying it together. And the one that ties around the entire book is ended with a little, God, what the hell do I call that? The thing that steers big ass ships, big ass steering wheel with like the little cogs around it. I am so I used to know this. Anyway, it's got one of those. And then there's a little bookmark thing, which is an anchor. They're all colored in bronze, an anchor with a heart on it. And I was looking for a journal. I thought I was going to find another animal, like my other power journal. But I saw this and it literally screamed out to me. It's just like, yes, this is a thing. And oh yeah, there's a is the word embossed? I think the word is embossed. There you go. You can see it a little bit there. Compass, nautical compass on the blue leather at the front. And then it's just brown paper inside. So ring bound, so I can take it out being left-handed. Just blank, completely blank. Ooh, tan, brown paper, and some little things on the end of it. So this is my meme journal. This is my meme journal. And I'm actually really excited. Like today I'm gonna go absolutely ham just to get my thoughts and stuff out for this. What? What's the cat saying? Hmm? It's not for you. It smells like cow, but it's not for you. What? Go sleep or something. So that's my meme journal. And the thing I love about it is we all talk about, or I talk about physical exertion. Icarus, shush, shush, shush. So I talk about physical exertion, right? And I love it. I live for it. I'm here for it because I'm a hyperactive individual and I need it to kind of level me out. But we never talk about, kind of, I suppose, the yin to the yang, which is what someone else kind of spoke about ages ago. But they spoke about it in a different way that didn't land properly with me. But this does. So I understand this as a yin exercise. And if you think of the Tao, the yin yang sign, so the black little kind of side teardrop and the white side teardrop with a dot of the contrasting color in it. I think this is part of that, or at least it feels like that's part of that for me. Because with my relationship with my parents, all three of them, it's not normal, but it's not dramatic or drastic either. So, with my mom, we did okay. We actually did okay for a long time. We were just really good friends, which I think was part of the problem potentially. In that we were friends as long as it was convenient for her. The second I started stepping up and saying things, that's when things kind of started falling apart. And I mean, she sent her child away to boarding school at the age of 14. No, from the age of 12, even. After primary school, I was a weekly boarder at school. And then after that, both of them agreed that I should carry on my education in the UK. So they carted me off to the UK. So I was, 4,000 plus miles away from anybody, any family members. And me being me, I just carried on, that keep calm and carry on vibe of the UK, which I fucking hate. I embraced it and just, figured shit out for myself. Yes, we had phone calls. Yes, I'd go and visit her, but we really didn't do much. She tried. I'm not slating her completely. She tried. She did do things, but it's kind of tough when you have a kid that just doesn't really care and appreciates things, of course, but ultimately she's just stuck not knowing why she's here, and she started developing a life in the UK, but then the US isn't the same. I remember I went over when I was 1 year into university, and I came back, and I like having a drink on a Friday evening. Like, university kind of trained me to be a very social creature, being a DJ at the student union and, going out into central London and doing all these kind of things. I had a life, and pubs and bars and nightclubs were very much a part of my life. And then you go to the US, you can't do shit until you're 21. So I'm like, I wanted a couple of beers. I had to ask my mom, can I have a couple of beers? Oh my God, you drink beer? Yes, I drink beer. Ew, aren't you going to get fat? I'm like, do I look fat? Like, there's constantly that undercurrent of bullshit. And I just shrugged it off because I'm like, okay, fine. This is who she is, whatever. It's okay. And it wasn't okay. Sometimes I tried to take her to task to it, and then it would just be a shouting match. And then it wasn't even a shouting match. We rarely shouted. We just had logical debates, and I would win them, which she absolutely hated. And then she's just like, you think you're so smart, don't you? Da 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 da. I'm just like, whoa, okay. I mean, you're you're the one that sent me to private school, but okay, let me not use my education to stand my own ground. Um, so that was kind of how it was, and that's how it developed, and that's how it just carried on, and it reached a point where we just stopped talking. The first instance was when I asked for my biological father's name, and we fought, and I persevered, and we fought, and I persevered, and she finally gave me a name, and I said thank you, and then we didn't speak for 6 months. And I didn't care. I was just like, whatever. Like, you're not providing anything for me. Like, we talk because you're my mother and we should talk. But beyond that, like, eh. Um, I don't know. So, that's probably gonna do something bad. I shouldn't do that. I'm gonna check again because I have this funny, sneaky suspicion that it is buzzing. I'm gonna cut this out too. Behind the scenes. Again, because I have this funny, sneaky suspicion. Okay, we're good. We're good. I love it. I love it. My paranoia today is unfounded. There's no need for the paranoia. So we didn't speak for 6 months after that. And honestly, I had no issue with that because, we just talked, and then the talking was going to pieces. And honestly, I'm just like, okay, fine. What are you doing? Oh, he's eating a spider. He's messing around with a spider. That's fine. So I'm saying all of this just to kind of set the scene for what I'm feeling. It's 2 years on. It's 2 years on since my mother shot herself in the head. And I can honestly say, whilst everyone else, when they lose their parents or whatever, they have love and, they have meaning and they have feelings of loss and everything. And I actually don't, in the same energy, because I feel like my mother died for me a long, long time ago. And all I've lost is just a person I knew. And I'm saying this very hesitantly because I can already hear my mother in the back of my head going, that's unfair. You shouldn't say that. How dare you say that? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm taking it on, fine. Yes. How dare I say that? But equally, is it a lie? No. Is it my truth? Yes. Do I have a right to express it? 100%. Am I going to keep on expressing it? Absolutely. Over time, it may wane. In fact, over time, it will wane because time does heal. And I just kind of get annoyed when people feel the need to cancel and nullify, and not like cancel culture I was talking about last week, or consequence culture. This is the consequences, expressing and feeling the negative feelings on an anniversary or death anniversary in this case is completely fine. Do you have to express it in a long meandering post on social media? If you want to, go for it. Just be aware that you're going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. A lot of people expect when you're reminiscing of a loved one's death that it must be in a certain way. It must be with love. It must be with joy and positivity and all this kind of bullshit that if you feel it, fine. If you have all of that, totally fine. If you don't have it, it's totally fine too. And I'm just saying that because I know people probably feel the pressure to constantly have to kind of look into the world and express things in a certain way. But if a death of a loved one leaves you feeling a little bit cold, that's fine. Posting about it, I think, is fine too. And I'm probably going to do a long post about it just to see what happens. if people are watching this live but they haven't shown up, I see you. You know what's coming. And I know family members are probably going to private message me and tell me that I'm wrong for XYZ. I don't give a fuck. Have I mentioned that? I really don't. Because it is what it is, man. It really is. It is what it is. And it's sad that she went. And I know why she went. She got tired. But she also alienated everybody from her. You know, it's for some people, maybe it's more comfortable being on your own. Maybe it's more comfortable not having people judge you or having to justify your existence to people and so forth and so on. But that's part of the human experience. And the second you decide you don't want to be a part of that, then, you know, you're subjecting yourself to the real possibility of ending your own life prematurely. You know, because you don't have any support from anyone. You're just an island on your own doing the circles on your little sandy beach, and then you're tired of doing the little circles, and then that's it. It's game over. And it shouldn't be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. No matter how resentful you become with life, no matter how disappointed you become with your own life, you know, that's a thing too. Kind of having a life of what ifs, but choosing a different path and then being haunted by those what ifs. That's some bullshit. You know, a lot of us probably have that. I know I do. But I refuse to let them haunt me. I embrace them, again, twisting it, because this needs to be twisted into something positive. I embrace those situations, you know, thinking back to times where I could have played for a pretty high up team in Australia, playing field hockey, because field hockey was my thing for a while, and they needed a goalkeeper. You know, I was almost there, but I just started freaking out. There was that. Then DJing, reaching a point of notoriety, and I freaked out. And then being headhunted for a reality TV show. A very, I wouldn't call it hardcore, but kind of a bit out there. And I'm sure it would have been amusing. I'm sure it probably would have caught something. You know, there was that, but it just got too stressful. And you know, I ducked out of that. And those three are the main ones that I can think of off the top of my head. But they were all funny in their own kind of way. But they also showed me that when I commit to something that I enjoy, when it's in full alignment of who I am, it moves like the clappers. And I'm dealing with that movement because I find that movement terrifying. It's like, it's too fast, things are happening too quickly. No, self-sabotage. Okay, back into mediocrity. We love it. We love to be it. So that's the thing. But, you know, this negative side of stuff I think is valid as well. And I think with this episode, and I'm going to start wrapping it up, I think it's interesting. Again, maybe you're only tuning in once a year to kind of hear these specific things. I don't know. But ultimately, it's interesting to see where I am now 2 years down the line versus 1 year, versus, you know, a few months after the whole experience, which was, still looking back on it now, is pretty mental. There is no field manual for any of this. And yet, I managed to get through it. And I'm hoping that with each episode, you know, I'm trying to give you guys stuff to think about, maybe to relate to, you know, just having that friend who says stuff that no one else really says. If you were a friend of mine, we would be chatting about this completely openly in a pub. I have no problem talking about this kind of stuff. But I think really honoring and respecting the negative feelings that come up and giving them a voice is really important. Note that there is a difference between honoring and respecting the negative energy and blindly enacting upon the negative energy. if a negative energy comes up, if feelings of resentment come up, and you don't acknowledge it, you don't address it, and you don't see it in front of you, but you just act on impulse, that primal subconscious hate hasn't been hatched. I know I'm using weird kind of metaphors now, but it hasn't hatched in the sense of getting the putrid, acrid kind of gelatin of just like pure primal fire. You need to get rid of that. That doesn't help anyone at any point unless you need to survive in a situation, in which case, baby, bring up that primal fire and knock a motherfucker out, because if you're the one who dies or they die, let them die. Fine, done, sour, done. But this is not that. This is memories. This is an accumulation of memories that have a final ending point with a human, right? Your timeline has outlived, well, that the other person's timeline has outlived yours, but ultimately that person has died before you have, which is normal because parents should die before their children, naturally, preferably. But, you know, reaching a point of someone proactively ending their life who was a parental figure in your life, not in a completely abusive way, and not in, you know, any untowards way. Sure, maybe they were physically abusive towards you. Maybe they did have an alcohol or drugs problem, or all three. Maybe you had the holy trifecta of abusive parentage. That's all valid. You know, if you've come to peace with it, that's fine. If you haven't come to peace with it, that's fine. If you're working through it, that's also fine. All of it is a totally valid experience. And I'm just putting it out there that the negative side, don't stifle it. Don't shove it away in a little box hoping it'll go away. Those fuckers grow. They love that shit. They're like fucking potatoes. If you just put them in the dark and forget about them, and then you come back and you're just like, hey, fucker, what's good? You ready? We got some twigs now. We're gonna fuck your shit up. Don't let your menacing thoughts turn into weird potato plants in your cupboard, because they won't just be potato plants. They will be a lot worse, and no one likes that. So yeah, so I think I think that's where I'm gonna end it today, because I didn't really want to kind of go into a lot of huge things. Yeah, I just wanted to express how I'm feeling, and to express that they're not good feelings, they're not good thoughts, but you know, there's ways that you can manage those feelings. You need to go out there and yeah, you need to go out and honor and respect the negative as well as the positive, because they're all value in their own way. They're all valuable in their own way. And I feel, or at least I've been feeling, life is a lot easier when you just kind of acknowledge and respect and give certain things space, the time and space they need to exist, and then calm down. So yeah, that's the end of the episode. I hope you've enjoyed it in however you can enjoy someone reviewing a 2-year death anniversary of their parents. And as usual, just send me a message on social media: Instagram lshig, Twitter lshig, Facebook Shiggy, or Shigimus, or Shiggy Pactor, whatever. Do the do, and until then, look after yourself, and yeah, bye. Sexy potatoes. Suicide happened on a Monday. 2-year death anniversary. Cool. Yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna go write in my meme journal now. Ooh, so exciting. That was a weird episode for me, but it is what it is. Icarus, man, you should be asleep. What do you want? Oh, you haven't got any water. That's why you've been being weird. Okay, I need to go water my cat. Because if you have an unwatered cat, they get very, very meowy and ouchy around your ankles. Yeah, I'm good. This is good. This was good. If you're watching this on the replay, put a little comment below wherever you are on YouTube or my Facebook pages. And yeah, episode will be sexified and up on Thursday. In the meantime, as I said on the show, look after yourself and I'll see you next time. Okie dokie. Goodbye.